Well, start over now that I ruined that for us.
Greetings, friends. It's Josh.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're here today for another episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast, which is a podcast for gamers who don't have time to game. And we're here today, excited to be here, as always. Always excited. Always a good time to get together and talk, Ryan.
It is.
It's fun.
Video games.
Life.
Being a dad.
The big questions of life.
True.
And I've got a big question of life.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a question, but I came to a realization.
All right, I'm ready.
The other day, and this is a pop culture thing. So you're familiar with the Rickroll.
Oh yeah,
I assume.
Got to be.
I think So if you're not familiar with the Rickroll, in the early to mid, I guess it was around 2010, maybe a little earlier.
Sounds about right.
There was this thing where people would start sharing a video, with the headline of being something ridiculous, and then Rick Astley's song "Never Gonna Give You Up" would start playing instead of whatever video. So it'd be like, here's a leaked copy of the new movie, and no, it's Never Gonna Give You Up. So. And it became this whole thing, and so if you're not familiar with it, I feel sorry for you because it's a very comedic.
I'm laughing at all the videos that I got Rickrolled on.
Well, do you have one in particular?
No, just generally I remember so many times like, ooh, this is interesting, and I click on it, boom, Rickrolled.
Rickrolled. So this podcast is not going to be a Rickroll. I'm not going to introduce you to that song, but. I had this thought the other day, and I think... So here's the thing.
Yes.
I think that the song "Never Going to Give You Up," or Never Gonna Give You Up, I should say. I should get the title right. Is actually, in and of itself, a Rickroll.
Okay, explain.
So here's what I mean by that. So the whole thing is based on this premise of... the premise of the Rickroll is you are presented with something that you're expecting one thing, and then when you actually, get into it, it's not that. It's not that thing. Yeah. So I wanted to, here are the lyrics.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Here are some of the lyrics. I'm going to start off just kind of at the beginning. We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. So you're starting off with the concept of what, typical, American love, dating relationships are, which are anything but, commitment relationship, and things like that. Yeah. So the rules are, we get together, we hook up, and we move on, right?
Yep.
A full commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy.
Huh.
So he's starting off saying hey, we know what this is about. We know what the dating relationship game is about, but I'm the guy.
He Rickrolled.
I'm the guy that is going to. I want a real commitment.
He Rickrolled right there.
Right. It's at the beginning of the song. At the beginning
he did a Rickroll.
It is a Rickroll.
Wow.
And so and then let me see. We've known each other for so long, your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to say it. Inside, we both know what's going on. We know the game.
The game.
And we're going to play it. We're playing a game. We are playing a game, but I'm never going to give you up.
But not me.
I'm never going to give you up. I'm never going to let you down. So,
he totally did a Rickroll.
The whole song is actually a Rickroll. He's saying, he's coming out and saying it, at the beginning of the song. He's like, you know what? I am the guy who will not give you up. But he's also stating we're playing this game, and you know it, I know it, we know what the rules are.
So the original Rickroll is actually the song itself that other people use to Rickroll.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty trippy.
So meta.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. I think it's a valid theory.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot, actually.
So
there you go.
So, if you want to rickroll someone, you don't even have to pretend it's something else.
No, just send them the song.
Play them the song. Here's Never Gonna Give You Up.
I like it. I like it, Josh.
So
beautiful.
It's wonderful.
That's awesome.
And now, here is Never Gonna Give You Up.
Oh my.
We should like do that for like do like podcast episode names, like start it off like never is going to be like the first word in one of our podcast episodes and like in the next one it's gonna be gonna, and then give and
build up to it,
build up to the Rickroll and the podcast titles. Now
I like it.
I don't know, maybe not. So go get Rickrolled.
Get Rickrolled.
Get Rickrolled.
Yes.
Oh man. So what about you, Ryan? You got anything for us?
I kind of got a little kind of funny story. So a couple weeks back, 3 or 4 weeks ago, it was Memorial Day weekend, and I text you and Matt in our group chat, and I said, well, if you guys are wondering, 14 years is how far into marriage it goes before your father-in-law retires from grilling and hands over the responsibility to you, which I was fine with.
Yeah, sure.
My wife kept asking me, like, are you nervous? Are you nervous? And I really wasn't, because like I enjoy grilling. I wasn't nervous about it. I grill all the time. Except for I have never grilled pork chops before.
Oh, yeah, no, me neither.
And so
do pork chops.
The humorous story about it, there's like 6 different kinds of meats. And the funny part of the story is all the other ones came out just fine. The first pork chop I put on the grill, I was flipping it to check it to see if it was done, and I proceeded to drop it in the driveway. So I was like, awesome.
Just pick that up, put it back on there.
I did not do that. I know that my father-in-law listens to this show, so let me very clearly state that I did not do that. I threw that pork chop away.
No, I mean, come on.
I thought about marking it somehow and like telling everyone like I'll eat it because I don't care. Yeah. But no, I didn't do that. So.
But you could. Hypothetically speaking,
it would have been a funnier story if I did that, but didn't tell anyone. And just kind of.
But you're heating it up to the temperature. It's gonna kill off anything that's on there. It's clean. Anyway, that's I wouldn't do that either. But
so that was kind of funny, like, because. First time I'm grilling for the in-laws and dropped a pork chop right on the driveway.
Pork chops.
Yeah.
Rolls and pork chops.
There's an episode title for you right there.
If you were wondering where the title of the episode came from,
now you know.
Now you know.
Now you know. So, yeah.
Wow. We have fun here.
We do. That's that's all you can ask for.
Ain't we got fun?
We have fun.
So cool. So you dropped the pork chop. That's it.
Yeah, that was it.
That's it.
Everything else went fine.
Great.
I did make a joke to my brother-in-law before we all ate. I was kind of hanging back, and I was sort of letting everyone else go first, and he kind of gestured and was like, "Hey, go ahead." I was like, "No, I'm going to go last, because if I undercooked everything and you all get food poisoning, I'll know it, and then I won't eat it." But no.
Everything went out.
Everything was fine. It was a great time.
I also grilled this week, and it was the first time that I had grilled this summer. So
there you go.
Or that week, that Memorial Day week, I should say.
It's time. It's time for grilling.
And yeah, I was. I don't ever do much because my wife's a vegetarian. So
yes, this is true.
It makes my life a little bit more difficult for
cooking.
So basically, I'll cook 2 pounds of hamburger meat and 8 hot dogs, and then I've got dinner for the rest of the week.
Yeah, that's true.
Because my daughter will eat about half a hamburger or a little bit of a hot dog, or my son will eat whatever my son will eat. And then everything else just gets put in the fridge, and I just heat it up the rest of the week.
That's your food.
You know?
Does your wife like black bean burgers?
Yeah. So I actually had they had Impossible burgers at Walmart that I was able to get. You know.
How were they?
I don't know. Ask her.
Oh, okay. The reason I'm asking is because my wife and I have tried a couple times different recipes, and it could have been us in the way we were cooking them, but they just didn't come out very good.
Yeah, we've never tried to make a burger, but
yeah,
I mean,
it's well established on this show that I'm not that picky of an eater, so for me to say they weren't very good, they weren't very good.
Yeah, so we usually did the Morning Star, I think is what she gets, the grillers, Morning Star grillers. That I just throw out there, but the Impossible burgers were there. First time I had seen them there, and so
I'll have to try them.
Yeah, I mean they're not necessarily cheap. I mean it's I think 6 patties for $10. So that's
there you go.
So yeah, that's grilling stories with the Dead Tired Dads.
Yeah,
another potential podcast
whole episode right there. All right.
Pork chops and Rick rolls. Rick rolls and pork chops. Yeah, whatever.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a good. I think that this is going to be our best episode yet, just because of that title.
It could. I'm not saying it won't be, but it's going to be really hard to beat Lawn Mowing Simulator.
No. The hashtag sponsor us episode. If you haven't listened to hashtag sponsor us, like that is the episode that you need to like. If you've got people who you're like thinking about sharing this show with, like start with that one.
Yeah. I've actually had 2 people tell me that despite your story, in fact, because of your story, they went ahead and played Lawnmower Simulator.
Not worth it.
So there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now that we've ventured down that rabbit hole,
we went way down.
We should maybe review some games.
Should probably talk about video games.
That's what we're here for, right? That's what you want to know. You want to know what games we've played.
Yeah.
So Ryan, do you want to go? You want me to go? How do you want to do this? We should start at the same time. We should just do our reviews both of them at the same time. And it's just like a garbled.
Let's do that now. I'll go first.
Okay, Ryan's going first.
My game this week is one that I did not think that this name would come up on our podcast.
Okay.
As you know, we try to, not always, but we usually try to find games or titles that are a little lesser known, a little, not necessarily niche, but sometimes niche. Just games that you maybe wouldn't necessarily play.
Right.
Because the whole premise is, like, if you're busy, you want to know, is this game worth my time?
Right.
And no one needs to say, like, yes, Zelda Breath of the Wild is worth your time. Like, that's a given. That's obvious.
Should be a given.
Yeah. So, I didn't think I would do this game, but, or this franchise I didn't think would come up on this podcast, but it has. Final Fantasy 15.
Okay, then.
It came out 6 years ago.
Okay, so it's an older game.
It has been on my shelf for 5 years.
Okay.
Untouched.
Untouched for 5 years.
It is, other than the like remakes, remasters, stuff like that, it is the newest original Final Fantasy game.
Okay, so like, they haven't made a Final Fantasy 16.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So they've made, the Final Fantasy 7 remake. Remakes, they've remastered Final Fantasy 8 a couple times. So
a couple times.
But yeah, this is the newest.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Release of an original, if you will. This game is fantastic.
Okay.
So good. So the premise is you play as Noctis, and Noctis is the king's son, so he's the prince.
Okay.
And he is, at the beginning of the game, he is getting ready to leave on a road trip with his 3 best friends, and he's going to another country or another kingdom to pick up his fiancée, and they're going to get married and come back to his hometown, where he's going to become king someday. That's the premise of the game. So it starts out with you setting out on a road trip with your 3 best friends.
Okay.
And like all Final Fantasy games, something happens, and oh no, the world's in chaos.
Oh.
So
I didn't realize that was the premise of all Final Fantasy games. So
I know, because you need to play one, Josh.
I need to be told that. So
no, you need to play one.
Is that a premise of Final Fantasy games, or just of three guys going on road trips?
Yes.
Okay.
So you so basically you're out on this road trip. I don't want to, even though it is 5 years old, if someone decides to play this game because of our review, I don't want to spoil anything.
Sure.
Bad things happen. You've got to save some lives.
Okay.
So along the way, there's all these places you can stop and pick up quests, and like most RPGs. The kind of a cool thing that they did with this game is I said that you go out on a road trip. You go in a really cool sports car. And so, like, part of along the way, you stop at, like, car shops and stuff, and you can upgrade the car. And it's by no means, like, a main part of the game. But you and your buddies are driving around in a really cool sports car. I mean, like, that's fun.
When I think of Final Fantasy, I don't think of
Exactly.
sports cars.
Exactly.
So my interest is kind of like, I'm questioning reality right now.
So this game, actually, when you turn it on, it says it pops up with like a little advertisement or a tagline or whatever. It says a Final Fantasy adventure for new fans and old fans alike.
Okay.
It's so the reason I say that is it's different than most Final Fantasies for sure. The reason I decided to review this game is because it got like extremely mediocre reviews and scores. Partially because it had a couple small bugs and patches at the beginning. Some people called it an incomplete game. There is a movie, like a full-length feature film, that it's not required to see, but it certainly fills in some gaps.
Okay.
And so that caused a lot of people to kind of downgrade it, because it's like the story is not in this game. I have to go elsewhere to get the story.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it rightfully had a few knocks on it, but it's a really good game.
Okay.
Overall, it can be scary. My 7-year-old watches me play it, and he enjoys it. Most of what you're doing is along the way is monster hunting.
Okay.
So you're getting all these quests to go slay these monsters and stuff. They're really cool looking. I haven't run into any yet that scare my 7-year-old son. So
gotcha.
Take that. It's one of those, like, sort of, your kid, you got to make that judgment.
Yeah.
Is it worth the cost? I'd say now, because you can get it. I looked today before we recorded, and it's on Amazon for $15.
Oh.
So,
yeah,
on PlayStation 4. So, why not? The one thing that's going to cause some people some drawback is if you're like us, you're a busy parent, it's a minimum of 30 hours to beat this game. And it tracks your playtime as you go, so it shows you right there in the bottom left corner. And I'm just sort of gauging what I know about most Final Fantasy games, and there's no way I'm going to finish this in 30 hours. It's going to take a lot longer than that. So it's a long game, and you do need to pay attention. Like, you have to hear what's going on, pay attention. The combat is different. It's not turn-based. Oh. It's all open action. Another reason that you should play this Final Fantasy
maybe
game.
I'll play Final Fantasy 15.
You should. You very much should. It's an extremely fun game. There's some areas where it doesn't quite fit the Dead Tired Dead's criteria, but there's other areas where it does. So you got to make a judgment call. But I'm gonna say really, really fun game that you should absolutely play.
Well, I mean, any game that's gonna take 30 hours to play, like we talk about games that that do take certain games, certain things are worth your time, even if it does take a long time. And so, if you're going to invest 30 hours into a game, it better be a darn good game that you enjoy. So, that's good. That's good to hear. And So, and it sounds, if it's not turn-based, that sounds like something that I'd be...
It's not turn-based. Actually, as I'm playing it, I've thought of you a few times because I have thought, this, other than saying Final Fantasy in the title, like, there's not much that's typical traditional Final Fantasy about this, so I think Josh would enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think I might. And I might actually play it the way that you're describing it.
You should.
I'll borrow it from you.
It's fun.
I will not beat it.
I may not beat it, so there's that aspect
but,
of it.
To play it, yeah, sure, why not?
It is. It's fun.
Cool. So that's
what I got.
Final Fantasy 15. Ryan says play it.
Yeah.
Buy it for $15 on Amazon.
Yeah.
And get your PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Now, question, is it PlayStation 5 is backwards compatible, right? So you can play PlayStation 4 games on it, maybe?
I don't know, actually.
Okay. See, we are not good gamers.
We're not cool.
We can't afford new systems, so we don't know anything about them.
This is a whole side tangent that I won't go into right now. But I could rant for a whole episode, but I'm just not that interested in the PlayStation 5.
Understandably.
Yeah. I'm very interested in the Xbox Series X, but the PS5 is like, meh.
Another conversation.
No thanks.
We try to avoid console wars here.
That's true. We don't want to do that.
So
play what you like.
Play what you enjoy.
Yep.
So I can understand your reticence though. All right. So that's Final Fantasy 15. I am talking about a more recent game that is also probably rather popular at this point. It's out, pretty recently out. So I recently picked up a copy of Nintendo Switch Sports.
I hate you.
I know you do. And I'm sorry.
I don't hate you, Josh.
But so if you're unaware, which you're living under a rock, there was a game, there was a console called the Nintendo Wii.
Might have heard of it.
That was one of the best-selling consoles ever in the history of game consoles. That was packaged with a game called Wii Sports.
Might have heard of that too.
That was for a free game that came with your console.
Oh man.
Was absolutely
so much fun.
Amazing.
So much fun.
Just fun to play, fun to do. And so Nintendo decided to capitalize on that franchise that they started there.
They would do that?
Yeah. How does Nintendo keep making money? And they released a version-ish type thing of it for the Switch. And so when I saw that they were releasing that, I was like, man, I got to get that. And so I did. And I am loving it, as is
no surprise.
As is my 6-year-old daughter.
So, also no surprise. That's the beautiful thing about that game.
Yeah, no. So she loves. It's been great because she wants to play it with me, and it's it's really the first game that she's played Yoshi's Crafted World, but and she wants me to play that with her, but I'm not like. Yeah. I'm not super into playing that game with her because I get frustrated I get really come on baby, you gotta do this right, you do the thing as you're supposed to do, and she's and so I have a hard time watching her play, and I have a hard time playing with her because
I hate that.
Just do it. It's not difficult. You can do it. I promise you can. And it just so I get aggravated with her. But this is a game that's it's very intuitive as far as how the because it's motion controls and things like that. And so very cool. You've got a couple of different games that are available in there with it. You've got soccer and chambara, which is like a sword fighting type thing. Yep. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right, but badminton, tennis, bowling.
You gotta have bowling,
volleyball, and like I said, the really cool thing is I really like the soccer.
Interesting.
Although watching that's the one game watching my daughter try to play that I'm just why are you having a hard time with this? This
Do
is
it
not
the right way.
Do it the right way. She lost that one and she got kind of mad. But I was just like, baby, you're not remembering what you did. You did all the motions right when it was teaching you how to do it. Just do that. and she just couldn't get the concept. But anyway, she really likes playing volleyball. She really likes playing badminton and tennis, and we've done bowling a good bit. And it's just it's just straight up fun.
Yeah.
So obviously, as far as time commitment, like it meets every single one of our criteria. Like at a like 10 out of out of 5. Like
10 out of 5.
It goes like above and beyond. Like you can play a quick round of bowling and quit. You can it's super family friendly. Anyone can play, and you can play with as many people as you got. Now there is one caveat that I have.
All right.
And I've talked about this previously. It requires you to use the Joy-Con.
Oh, sure.
And I have many issues with the Joy-Cons. So if you know anything about, I talked about it on the episode for Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword, where I talked about how I had issues with drift and stuff like that. And so if you're familiar with that issue with the Nintendo Switch and the drifting problems, that does come into play a little bit here. It's not awful because it's not as precise as Skyward Sword. Like Skyward Sword was a thing where it's like it relies on very precise motion controls. Yeah. This is not that. So it's less of the preciseness, more of the precision part of it. I have a Joy-Con that has this tendency to just randomly disconnect.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
It'll just disconnect, and then it won't it won't reconnect.
Yep.
And that's really aggravating.
Yeah.
But overall, like, it's just stupid fun. Like, it's just a fun game to play, a fun family game to have around. And they're going to be adding, I don't know if it's going to be free or not, but they are going to be adding golf in at some
nice.
Point. At least that's what I've heard. I'm assuming that they will also release other sports onto it eventually. I would love to see a return of boxing.
I was going to mention boxing.
Boxing was one of my favorite things on Wii Sports originally. I got really good at that. I got to the Mike Tyson fight on that one. And I loved bowling on the Wii Sports as well. And the bowling in this is carries on. It's a very very cool thing. Now, so the first time I turned it on, it's got online support, so you can go in and play against other people. And so like the first time I was playing, I was actually going in. I went in and played. I started off with bowling, and I went into the online thing, and I had an issue with my the way that it does like this elimination tournament where you bowl. And whoever has the highest scores, like after 3 frames, like moves on to the next round. Huh. And like I was the top guy, and then my Joy-Con disconnects.
No.
And then I can't get it to reconnect, and like I get disconnected. Like I ran out of time. Yeah. Like it's a timed thing. You have to get through the frame so quickly, and I ran out of time to do the thing, and I had to reset my Switch, and like. I was so angry. Yeah. So again, the Joy-Con issue, is an issue. 100%. That's problematic for the Switch still. Now, granted, Nintendo does the right thing, and you can get that fixed. I just haven't done it. So there's that.
They do. To their credit,
it's required.
They take care of it.
Put that caveat in there. Yeah. Because they will fix it, but I just haven't gotten mine fixed. So.
Yeah, they will. I had to get one fixed, and they did. They made it right. So
absolutely. So you can get it if you want a digital version of it. You can get it for I think $40 digitally. Okay. Which it's a bit pricey for what it is. Yeah. But from where I'm sitting, you're going to play.
You're playing a lot.
You're going to play it a lot. You're going to get a lot of gameplay out of it. Or your kids are going to get a lot of gameplay out of it. If you don't have kids yet and you're listening to this podcast and for whatever reason, you can break it out at parties and it's
a great party game.
It's just as much fun as Wii Sports was, when it came out. But, playing with your kids is great. Your kids are going to want to play it with their friends. If they've got friends that come over,
Yeah.
it's easy to just break it out and play it. So,
By the way, can I just say that was such a weird transition that we all did, at least in my memory. So, like, I don't remember exactly when Wii Sports came out, but
2006.
Okay, so I was 1 year out of high school.
Yeah.
So, I'm 19 years old.
Right.
So, like, up until that point, my gaming with my buddies was like Halo and Call of Duty and all these games. And then it's like, hey, guys, let's all get together and play virtual bowling.
Yeah.
And that was such a weird thing that we all did. But it was so fun.
Yeah, it's true.
It was so fun.
It's very true. So I just remembered that I wasn't finished with my previous thought.
Oh, sorry.
Not your fault. I had thought I was done, and then I remembered. Oh, wait, no. So $40 for digital, but you can get a physical copy of it, which I highly recommend, as you all know.
We've mentioned that before.
But the physical copy is $50.
Okay.
But it comes with a leg pouch for a Joy-Con. Because in the soccer, I haven't done this yet, but in the soccer you can actually use there's a mode that you can do that actually uses your leg to actually kick.
Okay.
So there's a little leg thing like you put around your leg and you put the Joy-Con in the pouch.
That was actually going to be a question of mine because you mentioned soccer and I was like, how does that work?
Yeah.
Huh.
So
cool.
There's 2 different modes for soccer. I haven't done that one. So if you've got the Ring Fit Adventure, it's the same pouch that comes with Ring Fit Adventure. So
okay. Yep.
I now have 2 of them. So
there you go.
So yeah. That is Nintendo Switch Sports. So highly recommended by Josh.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 15 highly recommended by Ryan, even though it takes up too much of your time.
It does take a lot of time.
So. That'll do it, I think, for our game reviews and for our Rick-rolling and pork chopping around here.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Thanks for tuning in. I hope you got a laugh. I hope you got some ideas about some new games that you could pick up.
Yep.
And if you wouldn't mind doing all the things that we always ask you to do, like, share, subscribe, comment. Again, if you've got recommendations for Ryan on his trip for Switch games that he can take with him.
Yep.
Get those over to us somehow. You can send us a direct message or, whatever. We'd appreciate it.
There you go.
Thanks again for listening. We will catch you next time on the next episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast.
Bye.